Tonight we unravel one of history's most shocking betrayals. For 2 centuries, the Knights Templar were the champions of Christendom, warrior monks, inventors of international banking, wealthier than kings and answerable only to the Pope. Untouchable, until the morning of Friday, October 13, 1307, when they vanished. At dawn, across France, thousands of knights were dragged from their beds, arrested, and thrown into dungeons. Their wealth disappeared. Their grandmaster, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake. His dying curse soon echoed with eerie fulfillment when both Pope and King died within the year. Were the Templars guilty of heresy, spitting on the cross and worshipping a demon named Baphomet? Or were they victims of the most ruthless smear campaign in history, destroyed by a king drowning in debt? Our story begins in silence. It is the night of October 12, 1307. Paris is not yet the glittering capital of lights but a medieval city of stone and smoke. In dormitories across France, Templars sleep peacefully. Noble knights scarred by holy wars dream of deserts and battle. Sergeants, farmers and masons turned warriors, rest on rough pallets. In a small cell, an aged chaplain whispers his evening prayers, rosary beads clicking softly. From the mighty Paris Temple, a fortress that served as France's treasury, to the smallest rural farmstead, the rhythm is the same: discipline, prayer, purpose. They believe themselves secure, guardians of Christendom, loyal to Pope and God. Their white mantles marked with the red cross symbolize divine favor. For 2 centuries they have been the papacy's sword and the bankers of kings. They own land, ships, forests, and vineyards. They perfected international banking, allowing pilgrims to deposit gold in London and withdraw it in Jerusalem. They became a state within states, sovereign, answerable to no one but the Pope. But their power bred suspicion. Their rituals were secret, their fortresses vaults, their influence resented. And on this very night, while they dream, another chamber in Paris is awake, the Louvre Palace, where King Philip IV, Philip the Fair, writes their death warrant. His kingdom is drowning in debt, much of it owed to the Templars. To him, they are not holy knights but an obstacle and a vault to be plundered. Sealed orders are sent across France. Bailies and seneschals hold instructions they may not open until dawn. When they do, the net will tighten, swift and silent. The Templars believe they rest under heaven's protection. In truth, they are moments from annihilation. To understand how such a revered order could fall, we must journey back to their beginning. It was 1119 when a French knight, Hugues de Payens, and 8 companions proposed a radical idea to King Baldwin II of Jerusalem, a monastic order, not of cloistered monks but armed guardians of pilgrims. They called themselves the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, the Knights Templar. They were so poor that 2 men shared a single horse, an image immortalized on their seal. Their fortunes changed with the support of Bernard of Clairvaux, the most powerful abbot of Christendom. He hailed them as a new kind of knight, holy warriors whose violence was sanctified. With papal approval in 1129, donations flooded in. Lands, castles, and fortunes built a network across Europe. They became not only crusaders but bankers, creating the first system of credit and revolutionizing finance. Papal bulls granted them exemption from taxes, freedom from bishops, and direct obedience only to the Pope. The paupers of Jerusalem became the masters of a financial empire. Yet their heart was the sword. Templars took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They owned nothing, everything belonged to the order. Their lives were prayer and battle. They trained ceaselessly, forming the most feared cavalry of the age. Their black and white banner, the Bucient, symbolized their dual nature, gentle to Christians, terrible to foes. Retreat was forbidden. They fought to the last man, earning their reputation in blood. At Montgassard, a handful of Templars shattered Saladin's forces. At Hattin in 1187, captured knights chose death over conversion, kneeling to the executioner rather than renounce their faith. To Europe, they were the incorruptible warriors of God. But history turned. By the late 13th century, crusading zeal waned. Europe turned inward, and the Crusader states withered. The final blow came in 1291, when the Mamluks besieged Acre. For weeks the Templars fought like lions, defending the last Christian stronghold. When the walls fell, Grand Master Guillaume de Beaujeu died rallying his men. The survivors retreated to their fortress, which held for 10 more days before collapsing in ruin. The Holy Land was lost forever. The Templars withdrew to Cyprus, then Europe. Their military mission was gone, but their wealth remained immense. And wealth without purpose is dangerous. So, on that silent October night in 1307, they lay dreaming while their enemies prepared the trap. The king's debt, the pope's weakness, the envy of rivals, all converged. When dawn came, the order that had risen from poverty to unrivaled power would be struck down in a single blow. The question that endures is not why they were destroyed, we know the greed and politics. The question is deeper, what truths did they carry with them into the flames? Were they heretics? Or martyrs of ambition and envy? The silence before that dawn was not peace. It was the last breath of one of history's greatest mysteries. The fall of the Knights Templar.